Hi kiddos. How are you doing today? All right, it is the start of another new week already. It's crazy. Last week just whizzed by. I hope you had a restful week last week with not a ton of work to do. And you're ready for some fairy tales this week. If you have your new package open in front of you, you'll see some of the things I'm going to show you. And I'm going to read you a story today too that goes with your first job for the week, okay? So, in your package, well, this is your front page that you have. And then I made you a word search and I wrote on there, I promise it's not a trick. Our friends' names are all in there somewhere. And then we're going to talk about fairy tales, okay? So there's a page in your book that looks like this. It's not a big job of working, but I'm just going to quick talk about it. So it says that a fairy tale is a make-believe story. So a fairy tale is a make-believe story that usually starts with once upon a time, and it usually ends with they lived happily ever after. There's usually a happy ending. And then it also has a setting. So a setting just means where the story takes place and when. There's usually good characters and bad characters. There's often talking animals, magic. There's always a problem that they have to solve. So there's a problem in the story. Sometimes the evil characters are the problem in the story. And then after the happy ending, there's usually some kind of lesson or moral that you learn from that story, okay? So that's kind of just an idea of what a fairy tale is. And you can color this if you want to. That's optional for sure. And then the first page after that is, it says jelly beans. My page does not have jelly beans attached to it, but yours does. I even got you the good ones, the jelly bellies. So that activity goes with Jack and the Beanstalk. So I'm going to read you Jack and the Beanstalk. And but before I do that, the other thing that you have in there is your measurement booklet. And I'm not going to put lessons in the Google Classroom about this because it's pretty straightforward and simple. The biggest idea that I want you to get from measuring is just that you always have to start at the edge of the object, okay? That's usually a big thing to remember. And then you can use your ruler to measure stuff around your house, or if you do the activity for tomorrow, you're going to build you can build a pig house out of the popsicle sticks in there, and then you can measure it if you want, things like that. Okay, so today, Jack and the Beanstalk. There's even jelly beans on the first page. This doesn't say once upon a time, but I might add it in. Once upon a time, deep in the countryside, lived a widow and her son, Jack. Their cottage was crumbling and their clothes were patched. They were very, very poor. One day, Jack's mother said, "We must sell our cow. Take her to market, Jack, and bring home some gold pieces." And so he set off to town. But before Jack had gotten very far, he met a strange little man. "That's a fine cow," the man said. "I'll swap you 5 magic beans for her." "Magic beans?" said Jack. "Are they really magic?" "Magic they are, or chop off my beard and knit it into a sweater," croaked the little man. Magic beans! Jack couldn't wait to tell his mother. He clutched them tightly and ran all the way home. Jack's mother was furious. "We need money, not useless old beans," she cried, and she threw them out of the window in disgust. But late that night, a tiny bean sprout poked out from the ground. And then it grew and grew and grew. The next morning, the beanstalk stretched high into the sky. "The beans were magic," Jack cried. "But what's at the top?" Jack climbed up, up, up the beanstalk. At last, he reached the very top. There, shimmering in the sunlight, was a magnificent castle. Just then, Jack's stomach rumbled. I must find some breakfast, he thought, and he tapped on the castle door. The door creaked open, and a huge giantess smiled down. Hello, Jack shouted up. Please, do you have any food? You poor thing, boomed the giantess. Come right in, but quickly, before the giant gets up. What a marvelous feast! There was an enormous loaf of bread and a gigantic jar of jelly. Jack dug in at once. But suddenly the room began to shake. Boom, boom, boom. Oh my goodness, cried the giantess. He's coming. And he shoved Jack under a teacup to hide. Into the room stomped a big, scary, hungry giant. Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman, he said. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread. Don't be silly. There's nobody here but us, the giantess scolded. Now go and wash before breakfast. Jack trembled. I must leave now, he thought. He was halfway down the hall when he heard a squawk. It was a hen with bright golden feathers. Help, she clucked. Set me free and I'll lay you golden eggs every morning. Jack scooped up the hen, but then he heard huge footsteps thundering after them. Fee, fi, fo, fum, roared the giant. I smell the blood of an Englishman, and there he is. Jack raced out of the door. He jumped and slid down the beanstalk. Down, 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 all the way back to his cottage. Mother, quick, bring an axe, he shouted. Jack's mother swung the axe at the beanstalk. Thwack, it shuddered and shook, and then the giant came tumbling down. Fee, fi, fo, crash. And that was the end of the giant. Jack hugged his mother tight. Look what I found, he said, and he showed her the golden hen. Oh, Jack, said his mother, I'm so glad you're safe. And you were right about those magic beans. So Jack, his mother, and the golden hen all lived happily ever after. And with lots of golden eggs, they were never poor again. All right, that's the end of Jack and the Beanstalk. And I'm sure you have heard that fairy tale before, but each version can be just a tiny little bit different. That one's just a tiny little bit different than some of the originals. Tomorrow, the one I'm going to read to you is even more different than the original. It's going to be kind of funny. So for today, I guess, now you get to taste some jelly beans. And then it just wants you to answer. So you've got quite a few on there, so you in your bag, I mean. So you might not be able to say what every single one tasted like, but maybe try a few. It wants you to write down what it looked like, what it smelled like, what it sounded like, what it felt like, and then what it tasted like. And obviously tasting is going to be the most fun. And so enjoy that. And I will see you tomorrow with the story. Actually, it's a fractured fairy tale. So I'll see you tomorrow with a fractured fairy tale. Have a good day, grade 2. Bye, kiddos.